From the court to the classroom, from the block to the boardroom, this is the Michael Graham Show, where real talk meets real life. Join Michael Graham as he breaks down the big issues: youth development, community programs, housing, jobs, and the challenges that shape us all. Loud, funny, real. The voices of experience from athletes, educators, advocates, and everyday warriors are all right here. This is where community comes to talk. This is the Michael Graham Show.
Good evening, folks. My name is Michael Graham. Welcome tonight. I appreciate you all joining us tonight. Been a long day for me, so I might seem sort of tired. I'm gonna bring on my guest. He's the author of the Other Side of the Hoop, the European Experience. My man, BK, Bobby Kinzer. Bobby!
In the house with furniture and a jacuzzi. Hello, folks. It is an honor to be on the Michael Graham.
How you doing, my man?
If I was any better, I'd be in heaven. We got
So
our
what's
connection
going on
kind
with
of
you, man? That was a great show you had the other night.
Yeah. It was about investment principles.
I enjoyed that show, man. I really did, man. People need to watch the Fitz show. It comes on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Man, it is a good show. It tells you about your finances. They have you thinking about a lot of stuff, and they got some ideas where you can be able to put a little money away, if you do it right.
That's right. That's our hope. We're trying to help people. Start. Fitz Show stands for financial information for today and tomorrow, helping our people get their finances in shape.
That's it. So what's going on tonight, man? Who we got?
Man, look, we are very honored. It's not very often that we can get writers on this show. I mean, legitimate writers. I'm just a sideline writer, so I don't put myself in that crew, although I'm not too bad. Bam! But
oh, there it is.
But today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful gentleman. I mean, his academic career is just extraordinary. He's a writer, sports writer, but he's been a professor at Michigan State University. He's a went to grad school at West Virginia University. That's where the great Jerry West, the Zeke from Cabin Creek is from. And ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for this wonderful gentleman, Mr. Frank Fear. Hello, Frank. Can you hear us?
Hey, Frank.
Yes, I can, guys. Good to see both of you. Hey, I'm with two legends here. Legends.
One, I'm just a legion. But Frank, today's show is about a gentleman, but about a book that you wrote about a gentleman, a friend of ours, by the way.
Yes.
A very good friend of ours who went to West Virginia University. And you wrote a book called, first of all, his name is Darryl Prue. Washington, D.C. boy, went to Dunbar High School. Mm-hmm. And your book is titled True Prue, subtitled Darryl Prue Unwavering. Frank, before we get into you, because I like to know about, what made you write this book. First of all, what made you write this book?
Well, I got to know Darryl. It's interesting because when my wife Kathy and I were in Morgantown doing our graduate work at West Virginia University, that was in the early 70s, and Darryl wasn't even in high school. Obviously, he was a very young person at that time, and so we left. I went on to Iowa State, got my PhD, and then, as you mentioned, Bobby, spent my career at Michigan State in the Big Ten. Of course, Penn State, where you went They weren't in the Big Ten then, but they were destined to be there. The Nittany Lions. Anyway,
We are.
So I actually never, I never got to see Darryl play live because he started in '85, and I was well into my Michigan State career. By the way, I was there the first year at Michigan State. I'm dating myself now. Was the year that Michigan State with Magic won the national championship, and you can imagine what that was like the first year I was there. Just an amazing experience. But I saw Darryl on TV because I continued to watch the Mountaineers, and then flash forward decades. And as I mentioned to Bobby before we went on air, I thought about being a sports writer when I was in high school and college, and actually decided to go into an academic career because I was advised you can always write sports later without having to go through all the difficulties establishing yourself as a sports writer. And so I did that. And so we got together, a mutual friend of ours, Dale Wolfley, who was a football player at West Virginia. And I had written a book.
Hey, Frank, hold up for a minute, because you keep breaking up, and you continue after I talk. But if you keep breaking up, we're going to ask you to get out and come back in, and then use
etc. would be of interest.
Yeah, because he broke up again, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's best for him to get out and come back in. There you go. He's going to come back in. Okay. Yes, I mean, this is interesting. Darryl Prue, 1985 at West Virginia University. Can't wait to hear more about the book because Darryl had a great career there. And I think they put him in the West Virginia Hall of Fame.
Yes, he is. He's in the Hall of Fame at West Virginia. One of the leaders in points, steals, rebounds. I mean, every category. You know, I got a chance to play with him when we went over in Mexico. We played together.
Oh,
and you know, yeah. He was more like you. Always kept me in check. You know what I'm saying? Was my better half. Was my good side. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So he helped me out a lot, man. That's my little brother, man. I love him. I love him dearly.
So Frank, can you hear us?
Hello, Frank.
Frank is frozen again.
Yeah.
Bad connection. Frank, you need to pay that cable bill. No, I'm just kidding. He's good. Get out, come back in.
And maybe he'll get back on. Okay, if he get back on that way, and then we can let him on again.
Yeah. But like you said, you played in Mexico, man, Mike.
Yeah, we were in Monterrey, Mexico together, and it was hard times because we had an owner that didn't have any money, but I had left, because I got tired of, of the pay. When I left, I took the whole gate. We had a game that day, so they gave me the whole gate.
Oh, how many people were there?
Oh, it was nice. It was a nice crowd, but it still wasn't what they owed me.
Oh, and you took the whole gate?
I took the whole gate, got on the plane, and was gone.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, I cashed it in at the airport for cashed the pesos in for money.
So you got pesos?
Yeah, they had to give me mine. I didn't even play. They were highly upset, but I mean, you negated on the contract.
People don't understand. International ball, Mike, was a trip, man.
Yeah, people don't understand that. They think you go over there with an attitude, and that's not the case, man.
No security.
Oh, I had security.
No, I'm talking about that you're going to get your money security.
Huh?
I'm talking about that you're going to get your money security. not physical.
Venezuela, I got mine. Every place else I got mine except Mexico. I had a hard time getting mine in Mexico.
Well, I know some other guys that didn't. I got mine my whole 5 years playing in Great Britain. I didn't accept the last check for 5 years. They never missed a payment. But I got the Muzz help didn't get. We went bankrupt, and I didn't get the last check, man.
There he is. You on, Frank? Yeah. Okay. You on? Yes. He's moving a little bit.
Keep freezing. Hey, Frank, if you can hear us and you on your computer, if you have this link on your phone, you might stand a better chance with your connection on your phone if you can hear us. Because you
yeah.
Uh-oh.
We lost it there. I don't know. I'm plugged into the router, guys, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he plugged into the router.
But the only thing about your router is in the outer.
You always gonna joke.
I love. Oh God! But
Mike, Darryl had a game tonight too. Who did they play tonight, Frank? I knew Darryl played it. I know Georgetown plays St. John's tonight. I wish them luck. I swear I do, man.
And
there's a rumor going around. They was thinking about Tony Skinner at George Mason, but then I hear another rumor, but they thinking about a Caucasian guy, somebody different. So we'll just have to see. But they said here Cooley probably be gone at the end of the season. I'm like, wow.
Look like
you
back
man.
there, Frank. Look like you back. You moving.
Get it right.
So y'all is still helping coaching with who? Who is Darryl Prue coaching with now?
Alcorn State.
Right.
He's with Alcorn State.
Right.
And he's doing a good job. They came back from 20 plus down the other night after their head coach got through out of the game. Whoever the guy's supposed to be having a ship down there. But I know Darryl going to do it right because that's the only way he knows.
Well, he's got a lot of experience.
He got experience. Only thing you got to do is treat him like a man. That's all he wants.
He was on Georgetown's coaching staff too, right?
Yeah, when JT3 was there.
Okay.
And that's who was in JT3 ear a lot. That's why they made it to the Final Four. They don't want to accept that, but I'm telling you that's why they made it to the Final Four because of that. There he is. We got you now.
Or do we?
Yes.
I don't know what the problem is there. But he was at Georgetown, and then he was at high school coach, right? He was high school coach.
He went to Georgetown, then he went to Morgan State. And then after Morgan State, he had 2 tours with Georgetown, though. But after Morgan State,
was he there with Todd Bozeman?
Yeah.
Todd.
Yeah, that's who he was with. Yeah. After Morgan State, that's when he went to Virginia, and then from Virginia he went to Charles County. Yeah.
Right.
So,
but he did coach high school.
So
though,
they coached tonight.
He coached high school, didn't he?
Yeah, in Alexandria, Virginia, the old T.C. Williams, and then he coached. I think it was St. Charles High School.
Okay, right.
Yes, St. Charles High School in Charles County. He head coach. So and he did. Hey, man, he produced winners at both places. So that's all that mattered. Let me see. Add to the stage.
Yeah, don't add him until he come on. Oh, there you go. Because me and Frank,
you okay?
For the show, we connected. I don't know what happened all of a sudden because we were connected for a good while there. Just technical difficulties, man. We can't have no control over that. Can you hear us, Frank?
Yeah, we're sorry, folks. You know how this day and age is. You know,
I think it's Iran. I think it's Iran interfering with our cable.
You know, and I'm used.
Oh man, we almost had you
again.
I'm on a router.
What he should do is try to get on his phone. Probably have a better connection. So everybody on today, we try to talk the author, and hopefully Michael Prue will get online soon. Darryl Prue's Unwavering. It's a story about Darryl Prue, who played at the University of West Virginia, and what's that, Morgantown, West Virginia, where the great Jerry West played. They had they were known for basketball down there, also football, but definitely basketball. And Darryl had a great career there. He was there in '85. Mm-hmm. He went into the Hall of Fame down there. Left hand, great shooter. Darryl about 6'8", 6'7".
He's about 6'7".
6'7".
Yeah, about 6'7". Yeah.
Great shooter, good scorer. Just a great guy. We hope to get this straightened out. Stay with us for a little bit. But let's talk a little bit more about international basketball. You said you played with them in Mexico. In what part of Mexico did you play?
We were in Monterrey, Mexico.
Oh, that's a
I
nice
remember it
place
clear, man. That was my first time. Well, basically, yeah. Well, was it? Yeah, no, that wasn't my first time out. But anyway, it was a good experience. I got to see other places in the world, and that's what it was all about with me. Me personally, I really never thought about a pro career. Because it happened so quick, and by that time I was so old. I just played so I wouldn't continue to get in trouble. I was a late bloomer. Didn't know what the heck I was doing. Wound up making it to an All-American my senior year, and didn't even know the height of this stuff. I was just happy to be a part of something, man.
Hey, Mike, you even look clear, man. Can you hear us now?
I can, guys.
Okay, yeah.
You look more beautiful too. What did you do, man?
I'll tell you what. What I did is I turned on the electricity.
That might help.
Wow.
No, I'm on my phone, and that's
okay.
That's unusual. I don't know why it didn't work, guys.
Hey, modern technologies. That's how it goes. Hey, Frank. So pick up if you remember where you left off about the book, writing the book for the life about Darryl Prue at University of West Virginia. Why did you write the book?
Well, he's a friend. There's no question about that. And I didn't realize at the time. I do now. Now that I'm through with the book, that includes interviews, probably with about 50 different people. Michael's one. The storyline is, I think, even if you don't know Darryl, and then if you do know Darryl, you know that it's a very rich storyline. And one of the things that I enjoyed the most about the book, Bobby and Michael, is that we were talking earlier. I grew up in New York State, and I was lucky enough when I was younger. College basketball was big there. Bob Lanier was at St. Bonaventure. The great Bob Lanier, the great Calvin Murphy was at Niagara. And Bobby, we were talking before the show. You were talking about talking with some friends from Syracuse University. And Calvin Murphy he just destroyed the Orange. He one time dropped 60 points. I think he was a freshman or a sophomore. Almost, my God, I think he had a triple double. Just an incredible, or close to it. But it's different from Metro basketball. In fact,
to make Niagara great, Frank Layton, who went on and coached in the pros,
Utah.
brought
Utah.
in Metro players. Calvin Murphy brought in Manny Leakes from Cleveland.
Oh, Manny, Baltimore
Oh my,
Washington
Manny, what a
Bullets.
great player.
What a great guy.
Oh yeah. And the thing about it that's so sad. I looked the other day, Niagara was playing a home game over the weekend and they had 800 people there. When I was growing up, you couldn't my uncle who went to St. Bonaventure brought me to a Duquesne St. Bonaventure game at the old Buffalo Odd Guys. And he's a graduate and he couldn't get tickets. We were standing room only. There are about 13,000 people there. And here's another name, the great Willie Somerset played for Duquesne. And that guy, I think he was 5'10", but I think he dropped in 43 that night.
Whoa.
So the great thing about the book for me was because other than that, in our neck of the woods, there weren't many high school players that went on to play college ball. Almost no African American players where I grew up and went to high school. And so to revisit history and to think about all the great players, two of you being two of them that played in the Washington area, Washington, Virginia, Maryland, etc. And to weave that story into Darryl's story because they're very much intertwined.
Yeah. Because I mean, Darryl grew up, man. You know, he never amazed me, man. He not matter of fact, he's a very loyal person. Number one. Number two, he's a hard-working person, and when he's committed, he's committed. I see this guy, man. I seen him as a kid growing up in high school. I believe I was a sophomore, and he was I was a senior. He was a sophomore, and we hit it off real good, and we started playing doing at home during the summer in the Urban Coalition and everything. Man, I used to watch this guy play against some of the best ball players in the NBA and score 40 and 50 points easily. I mean, his game is so fundamental. It's crazy, and not only that, his IQ is so freaking high. I don't think I know anybody that got one that's higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no question. In fact, one of the Michael, you're featured in the book, and one of the first stories in the book from his experience at Dunbar is when unexpectedly you were a senior, he was a sophomore, and of course, back in the day, sophomore, that was the first year you played varsity, and he went up against you and got schooled. He tried three different ways to even cope with you, and he said, I was helpless. I was totally helpless. Anyway, but the interesting thing about it, guys, is there's so many twists and turns to his story. Everybody thought, and he thought he was going to go to Georgetown and play with you in '85, and that just didn't happen. And it was just so lucky that one of the assistant coaches at West Virginia really fell in love with him and some of the other Dunbar players. And he said, he was at, I think, 13 games, Darryl's senior year. And so when the Georgetown situation didn't come to pass, he just swooped right in. And
let me tell you what I know about that. And this ain't talking bad about nobody. It's the truth. It's the truth. I think Georgetown messed up on that because see, some people don't go through their way of researching players and somewhat. I mean, you had to do some of the most craziest things to get there. First of all, they got to know if you know how to read. And if you can even read a little bit, they feel like that they can work with you. Okay, that's all well and good. But, and I'm going to be honest, and this is no knock against nobody. Everybody think I left because of academics. It wasn't. Me and Coach used to butt heads all the time because I wanted to do a different type of major. I I'm used to being my own man. I never had a man in my household. I was the man, and for him to come and saying, this is the way that you're going to do things, which I didn't accept, and maybe I should have. But in a sense, I felt like it wasn't right because I seen some things there that, man, I wouldn't, And I always say, and I say it again today, I'm glad I won the national championship, but I really, really think that I made a mistake by going there. I really do. I really do because, they portrayed one thing, and when I got there, it was crazy. Yeah, some guys made it. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell you, Coach had a way of making you feel like he's the only one that could do for you. But I never felt that way. I always made my own decision. And like he used to tell me, my worst enemy is myself. I can deal with that as long as I don't hurt nobody else. But he said another thing about me before he passed. One thing about me, he said, if I'm in a fight, I'd rather have Michael Graham in my corner because he's a fighter.
Right.
And that made me feel good.
So why did they recruit Darryl at all?
Yeah, they did, but they made him do a whole bunch of things, and some of it he should have done because they wanted to see how responsible you were, but some things he didn't have, so he couldn't make it. So and he would tell them, and they would go off. It was just crazy stuff. And then the rumors that I heard, we all heard them through the years about how some players were treated, or how things how they go in Georgetown. And I knew that because I've been around the family. Even when I was in the 9th grade, me and his nephew, best of friends. We still are today. So, I already knew what I was getting at. And I always told him, if I would have come there, that you'll win you a couple championships. But, man, he went from wanting to take me in his office and break furniture to everything, man. And, some things that I seen there wasn't right, to make us an all-African-American team. The way they got rid of the one Caucasian kid, it was crazy. I seen a lot of stuff, man, and it wasn't right. It wasn't right. And maybe he needed to do it because the position he was in at a black coach at a white university, but it wasn't right. It wasn't right. I used to go home and tell my mother that. I used to go home and cry to her all the time about it. Oh, he's okay. He is okay. I was on my way to Maryland. But you know why I didn't go? Because my mother didn't like the way lefty ears move when he talked.
That's funny. That's funny.
But see, but it sort of changed my mind there too, because I seen the exploitation there, like the summer job that he got me. I'm still in high school. We got a case of Michelob on back of a truck, a back of an open body truck riding around campus. Just the University of Maryland. We got brooms in our hand. I'm making $22 an hour. This is like 82, $22 an hour, 8 hours a day, and I work like 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time I'm drunk. I didn't want to go there. I already knew. I already knew.
That's that
So that's why I didn't bother to go there. And I signed my letter of intent. My junior year.
To go to Maryland.
Go to Maryland.
Yeah. So Frank, Frank, tell us. So what years does this book cover?
Well, it really covers Darryl's life. So it starts in the 70s. I take it all the way from when he grew up in Washington to his coaching, AAU coaching, college coaching, high school coaching, up to what he's doing now. So it really covers his entire life. So we're talking about 50 years of his life, and the book actually proceeds that way, starting early years, the people that influenced him, and how he got to Dunbar, because it's very interesting. He wasn't supposed to come to West Virginia. He was supposed to be playing at Georgetown, and he ended up in West Virginia. Well, he wasn't supposed to end up in Dunbar too, because of a paperwork mistake. He ended up going to Dunbar. What a great circumstance! He always talks about fate's a monster, and There were two times when fate, getting to Dunbar and then getting to West Virginia.
So tell me this. What, and you write in the book, because I always wonder how that is when people have, well, I forgot the term. You got ghostwriters, then you got autobiographies and biographies. But what is it when you wrote the book that you want people to get from this story about Darryl Prue?
Well, I think to get to know him as a person. That question you're raising, Bobby, is so critical because it's about Darryl, but it's also it's really a sociological and historical treatment of the times and the circumstances. And one of the themes of the book is how challenging it was. You guys know this personally, for African Americans to be able to get to the point where they are today, a dominant force in basketball at all levels. I include in the book what Elgin Baylor had to go through. I mean, a lot of people today don't realize that the Washington Post didn't cover black basketball back in the 50s. So how do people read about players like Elgin Baylor if the Post wasn't? You think of the great writers that came later, like Donald Huff and so on and so forth. But it was difficult. And one of the things I would say about it is that Darryl's part in history at West Virginia is lodged forever because he was the first major recruit from a metropolitan area to come to West Virginia. And it really was by happenstance because of that assistant coach who was coming to Dunbar games. And Darryl didn't know who he was, but he said to me, he said, I would look up in the stands and see a white guy there. Everybody else was African American, and I wondered who he was. And then he came into the locker room and introduced himself as his name was McPherson, and they became very close. And then when Georgetown didn't happen, he went there. But so it's to get to know Darryl as a great human being, as Michael was saying, just a tremendous basketball IQ, great passer, great hands. One of the things in the book is people kept on saying maybe one of the best hands, if not the best pair of hands they've ever seen.
Yes.
And the other is to understand the circumstances that African Americans faced in college basketball, because some of those tools were really white. And then you had the tremendous 1966 championship game when Texas Western beat all-white Kentucky. And before that, when Loyola of Chicago won the national championship, I think in '63.
Loyola of Chicago.
Yes, Loyola of Chicago.
Hey, so Frank, when I was at Penn State, I went in 1975. And years later, there was this movie that came out called Road to Glory about the Texas wrestling team.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this, and they came to a part where it was narrated. And it said that one of the things that the white coaches did back then was they could have, 6 black guys on the team, but they would only play 2 at home and 3 on the road. I went to Penn State University in 1975. John Bach, who went on to coach with the Chicago Bulls as assistant coach, I never played with more than 3 guys, and we had 6 black guys on the team, and that was in '75. That movie was about '66, isn't that what you said, Frank? So I was a part of that history. I couldn't believe it. I said my jaw dropped when I realized that I was a part of that history too in '75 to '79. Frank, tell me something about, we have people, especially in the Washington, D.C. area, have their myths or opinions, I was looking for, about West Virginia, especially back then, right? Like in the 70s, in the 80s. So how did Darryl deal with the cultural differences from coming from D.C., Dunbar High School in Northwest D.C., in the heart of D.C., going to backwoods. I remember they recruited me to Aldous and Broadus. I went over the mountain, round the mountain, through the mountain. When I got there, I'm like, man, I can't wait till I get home. How did he deal with the cultural differences of West Virginia?
And I know it's good.
Hey, Frank, on this end, you're breaking up again. It's like we're hearing every other word. Yeah, we're hearing every word. So if you can just, if you can clear it up, if not, I'm sorry, but this usually is the fix. It's just the layman's way. You might need to go out and come back again. I'm sorry to keep running you like that, but we're hearing every other word, and it sounds so good, man.
I know, you know it's good. That's what I'm saying.
You know what you're saying.
We know it's good. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, because I really want to know, Mike, because
me too. I could tell it was good.
We talking
That's
about
why we couldn't hear it.
Sticks, West Virginia, and and remember, West Virginia. I mean, they like 50th in education.
I played there in the CBA. Auntie Tally was my assistant. So Auntie Tally was my coach, the assistant coach.
Oh, the great Auntie Tally. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut him off.
Oh, that's me. Okay.
All right. Take it away, Frank.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little, hopefully you can hear me guys now.
Yeah.
It is that, I'm glad you asked the question, Bobby, because to me, it's the most important storyline. Not only what came before, but while Darryl was there, but what came afterwards. As I was mentioning, West Virginia was not integrated in either football or basketball until the mid 60s. When Darryl came in 1985, and I was mentioning this to Michael yesterday, never had a black basketball coach, and never had a black assistant basketball coach. And a fellow by the name of Ron Brown, who later coached Florida A&M and was an assistant at St. John's, came in 1985, and he was with Darryl. But you know this. We stand on the shoulders of others. People like McPherson, who helped recruit him, Gail Catlett as head coach, Ron Brown, definitely. But there was a guy named Garrett Ford. Garrett Ford, believe it or not, was a football player at DeMatha in Washington. And he was one of the first big-time players from a metro area to play football at West Virginia. This guy was the first 1,000-yard rusher at West Virginia, the first 2,000-yard rusher at West Virginia, and then played for the Broncos for a while. Wow. And when he was finished with his pro career, he went back to West Virginia and was the first African-American assistant coach on a Mountaineer football team hired by Bobby Bowden when Bobby Bowden was the head coach at West Virginia. And then after he was finished with that role, because Bobby Bowden left for, you and I were talking, Bobby, he left for Florida State. He was brought into the athletic administration. So here's Darryl, who's playing in an environment that is deeply black, going to West Virginia University, an environment that's deeply white. Maybe 2% of the student body was African American.
Right.
And so Garrett Ford actually got in his car, drove to DC, brought Darryl by car to Morgantown, and became his father figure until the day he died. I mean, Garrett just passed away probably about 6 months ago. A legend at West Virginia, and it was McPherson as the assistant coach, Catlett as the head coach, Ron Brown as the first African-American assistant coach. Garrett Ford, who by that time was associate athletic director. And believe it or not, the African-American football players that played under Don Nehlen in the mid 80s that really provided a cocoon, so to speak, an environment that helped Darryl make the transition. And I've talked to a variety of people who said that he didn't talk, Darryl's not a big talker, but he was very much not talking much when he came. And slowly but surely, he came, I don't want to say he came out of a shell, but he became more relational and became very comfortable to the point now that he views WVU as a second home.
Wow. That is so because I know that had to be tough for a young man. Mike, how was it for you playing in West Virginia in the CBA?
I loved it. I mean, it was small town Charleston. I had Archie Talley there. I met some people there. Yeah, I enjoyed it. If I had to pick a retirement home, that'd probably be my second choice behind South Carolina.
Wow.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The best way I can describe my perspective is here's a guy, me, that was an academic for all those years, spent nearly 40 years at Michigan State. Of all the places I've ever lived, West Virginia, I lived the least amount of time. And here I am 50 years later. Most of my friendships are connected to West Virginia. I focus on West Virginia sports. We have a podcast each Wednesday night focusing on football. We also deal with basketball and baseball and other sports. And so I just got back from a trip in West Virginia over the weekend. Very special.
We lost Frank.
Well, boy.
Oh, you still there? Okay, you still there.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Somebody must have called you.
Okay.
Can you hear us, Frank?
Yeah, we got it.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
You
do your podcast. How often do you go to West Virginia? I mean, you commute back and forth like how many times a month?
Oh, it's a couple times a year. The podcast we do electronically, and so I have two partners, both who are in West Virginia, and our producers in West Virginia, and it gets done that way. So it's all we do remotes every once in a while. We've gone back sometimes I think twice a year to do remotes in the state. That allows us to have guests. You talked about Darryl Talley. He's been on our show when we've done a remote, and a variety of other people. And so, yeah, it's an emotional connection, much more than it is a physical connection. Because we left West Virginia in 1973, and I have not lived there since.
So what is the name of the podcast, Frank?
It's Mountaineer Locker Room Then and Now. The reason we call it Then and Now is every show is split in two. We have a former Mountaineer guest come on the show and talk about when they played at West Virginia, mostly basketball and football players. And then the other part of the show, we talk about what's happening in Mountaineer sports now. So, for example, we'll talk about the basketball team. They're playing tonight as we speak at Kansas State. The women are having a great year. They're going to the Big 12 championship later this week, and we'll cover them. The baseball team's playing, and spring practice has started. Will start on Saturday. So that's what it's the then and now. The guys that I do the podcast with, one played for the Mountaineer football team, and the other is in the Sports Legends Hall of Fame in West Virginia, and they both love history as I do. So that's why we do the then and now.
So let me ask you this:
you
don't do anything on me, huh?
Let them say where they can get the podcast. Did you go?
Well, it's there's two ways they can get it. I think for most people, the easiest way is to go on Facebook to what's called the New River Network. New River Network. And it's the reason is that our producer lives right by the New River National Park and Bridge in Fayetteville. And so it's live at 7 o'clock every Wednesday on the New River Network, or on YouTube, you can go to the Voice of College Football, West Virginia, and we're simulcast there.
Sorry, Mike, you go ahead, my bad.
I forgot, man. Go ahead. I swear I forgot.
That's okay. Getting old as a mother.
I know. I need to stop at CBS and get me some. What is that stuff they have on television that they take for brain?
No dose.
No, no, that's not the name of it. I never
Hey, Frank, so
like
okay, you told me before that the book is not published yet. When will it be published, and how will people be able to get the book, Darryl Prue Unwavering?
Yeah, well, it's the same publisher that did my first book, called Palmetto Publishing out of South Carolina. That's why it's Palmetto. It should be out. It's in the page proof stages now. They're making corrections in the text and making sure all the photos, because there are probably about 200 photos in the book.
I was going to ask you that.
Lot of photos. A couple of Mike. Some really good photos of Mike. And at any rate, it will be available everywhere. I will publicize it, but your local bookstore, you can order it there. But it'll be on Amazon. It'll be on Barnes and Noble. They do a great job of making it accessible. And so and it's going to be in 3 forms. They can get it as a Kindle. They can get it in paperback, or they can get it as a coffee table hard copy book. So we'll advertise it, Bobby. I'm guessing it's not going to be available until sometime in April, early May, given the fact that we're in March now.
Cool. Great. Wow. So Frank, tell me a little something, man. As a sports writer, right? I can say that, right? How do you see the game of basketball today? I'm talking about college and pros. Let's deal with college, or in general, how you want to approach it.
Well, you can quibble with how the pros are run, but they're not only pros in terms of the game, they're pros in terms of running a system.
Right.
NFL, for me, the NFL is the El Primo. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, not to get political about this, but they take on President Trump. He says no DEI, and they've got DEI T-shirts on every freaking Sunday. Okay.
Wow.
But the college game is a mess, and the reason it's a mess is that it's all about money. And just like we know as human beings, if you dedicate your life to money, you're sure to be a failure. Exactly. And all they're doing is running money. They're just running after money. And so what's happening is, and West Virginia is a good example of this. Everybody I know that follows Mountaineer football and basketball, I mean, we love the Big East. I was talking with Sherman Douglas for the book, and I asked him why he went to Syracuse. Yeah, your guy, Spingarn. Yep. And he said, Frank, when I was growing up, Monday night, we went home. It was Big East, first game, Big Ten, second game. Yeah. And it was, and there was Thompson and Boeheim. It was absolute theater. And they broke up the Big East. Penn State left for the Big Ten. And then the Big East teams went to the ACC. And now these teams, I mean, you got Syracuse playing Wake Forest.
But they said it was all about football.
West Virginia's playing Kansas State tonight. Mm-hmm. Fans can't travel. There's no national rivalry. When I was growing up, West Virginia, every year in football, you'd play Syracuse, you'd play Penn State, you'd play Pitt, and then you would play Boston College. And now, no more Penn State, no more Syracuse, no more Boston College, Pitt, off and on. And it's just ruining the game. The Big Ten and the SEC want to control everything. And you've got it's just absolutely insane. There's no leadership. And one reason there's no leadership is that these conferences are competing with each other for more money and I always tell people, it's like, you take the NFL. Do you ever think that the AFC East would compete with the NFL West? Never happened. And yet you got the conferences competing with each other, poaching teams. There's no adults, guys. There's no adults. They may be older in age, but no adults are running college basketball. And I think, the players, God bless them, they need to get a piece of the pie. But they got to get control of this transfer stuff.
Exactly.
Guys playing 7 years, transferring in 4 different schools, and you know this. Basketball is not a game. It's an ethic. It's you get from the game what you give to it. You know this. You live it. And now it's about, no, it's not about that. It's about where I can get the biggest nil. Loyalty goes out the window. West Virginia in basketball, 2 years in a row, 100% new roster.
Wow.
That's
100% new roster.
That's why all these coaches like Leonard Hamilton, the coach that was in Virginia, they moving on, man, because they can't compete. It's hard to compete, and I think Cooley has ran into the same problem.
Yeah. Oh, it pains me to watch. I know this is a Washington-based show, but if there's 2 teams, I can't. It pains me to watch because they were so good when I was growing up. It's Georgetown and DePaul.
Yeah.
When you think when Ray Meyer was at DePaul, in the Final Four, they were in that 1979 Final Four.
I'm sorry, Frank. Tell him the stat. Tell Bobby the stat that you told me.
It's in the book. It's in the book. And I just came across this without looking for it.
Yeah.
And that is, if you take the wins and losses of John Thompson the third and John Thompson Jr., you put those together, and if you take the wins and losses with Ray and Joey Meyer, put those together, those are the 2 heydays of those 2 schools. And if you then look at the rest of their history, it's under 50%.
You mean the rest of each school's history?
Yeah, each school, if you take those, the father-son,
Right.
and you separate that from the rest of the history, they're at 60, 70%, the 2 of them at each school.
That's high.
And the rest at those 2 schools is under 50%. And another school that's like that is Valparaiso.
Is that Indiana? No. Where's Valparaiso?
Valparaiso is not a major. It's in Indiana.
Indiana.
But those are you remember Homer Drew, the father.
Yes.
And then he had 2 sons.
Correct.
If you separate those 3 at Valparaiso, and then you look at the rest of Valparaiso history, they're at 70%. The rest of the history is 40%.
Wow, that's a major statistic.
Yeah, it's in the book. I mean, I break it all down, give the numbers. It's just amazing. And so, you watch those 2 schools now. I root for both of them because it's connected to my growing up, and it's just painful.
Why do you think it's that way now? Why do you think it's that way?
It's just what it says to me, that a winning culture was not sustained either before or after. And that what you had at those 3 schools is what I call, in this case, family dependent, person dependent.
Right.
And so, you played with him, and this is not negative, but when I looked at Patrick Ewing's coaching record at Georgetown. I couldn't believe the numbers, especially the last few years.
Right.
It was just painful to look at. Painful to look at.
That's good.
Just painful to look at.
Hey, Frank. When we talk about West Virginia basketball, there's one guy that really comes into mind than any other person, even more to me than Jerry West. Did you ever see Archie Talley play?
Yes.
What was your take on Archie Talley?
Well, these guys, good. I mean, really good. Really good. Why did you pick him up?
Because he's, I think he's an unsung hero of West Virginia basketball because he was putting up some points. And then when I played in Europe, he was playing for Germany, and I would read the newspapers. He had 3 games, we had 80 points, not 3 games total. He had 80 points each game. I never seen him play. I've heard legends in DC. He never would play in the Urban Coalition, which was the major summer league. And I just hear so many urban legends about him. And they just opened up a school with his name in West Virginia, Archie Talley High School, matter of fact. And I just want to, I ask people because I've never seen him. So that's why I asked you, since you were.
Yeah, I've never seen him play either.
But I just heard he was phenomenal. Like they said, if he had a 3-point line, he might have averaged even more. They said the guy could shoot and could just score, but I never seen him play.
See, that's the other thing that people forget. They just think, the newer fans, that 3-point line has been there forever. And it's not the case. It was there, it was gone, it came back, and it's been with us since. But you take some of those players, who knows how many points they would have scored if they
like
had 3-point lines during their career.
You beat me to it. I was going to say Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete is one of them. He probably would have killed him. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah. But you see, I think this is another thing, Bobby, why history is so important. And, I think to be blunt about it, I really predict there'll be a lot of people who will pick up the Prue book and may not stick with it because it's history. It's not the here and now. And so many of today's sports fans, the biggest thing for them is how are we going to do this year? Who we got? And I think that one of the things that exacerbates that, accelerates it, is this sports betting. Is that people are putting their own money on the line, so they're focusing on who we got, who don't we have, et cetera, et cetera. And it's but it's just to me, these stories of people like the two of you. I mean, the book you wrote is so critical because there's in my book, I start the pro chapter. There's a great quote in the book from Yogi Berra, and I have it at the beginning of the pro chapter for Darryl. Yogi's quote was, "The future ain't what it used to be." And the reason why that's a good quote is that you're a great college player. Everybody knows your name. And if you don't make the NBA, or if you didn't make the ABA or the CBA back in the day, you went overseas and relatively few people would follow you over that. And as you write in your book, for the players, it was a life-changing experience. It was a cross-cultural experience beyond belief. And there's so many lessons for life, as you point out in your book. And so it's, it just pains me to see all these stars in college and people follow them. And then they don't pay as much attention because they're not on TV anymore. They're playing in, Turkey. Or they're playing in Mexico. And they're great players. They're still great players.
So what sport did you play, Frank? Did you play a sport?
I didn't.
What you play?
I didn't. I played intramural basketball, but that was it. I
What I'm
was,
saying,
I
that
took,
was your sport of choice,
pardon?
basketball? Was basketball your sport of choice?
Yeah, yeah. I was a shooter, couldn't play defense, and I was slow. But yeah, yeah. The story about that is I was at a Catholic high school my freshman year, and the principal came up to me, and I tried out for the basketball team. Came up to me and he said, name was Father Kolb, and he said, you know, Frank, he said, you might make the team, but if you do, you're going to be a bench setter, but that's your choice. But we need someone to write about our teams.
Oh,
And
way
and
back
you write
then.
really well. He said, so go home and talk with your mother and then come back and tell me what you want to do. And I came back and said, okay, I'll write. And that was the end of my basketball career.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so tell me, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No. That's amazing, though. That's
It,
something
it,
else.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So Frank, if you had your wish as a sports writer, who would be? No. Let me go this way. I was going to say, who would you, if you could write a book on, I'm talking about past or current. If you had a pick of who you could write, who would be your favorite person to write a book about, or most
Well,
interesting?
first, let me say I'm not a sports writer. I am
I noticed you said that.
it's in the book actually at the beginning. I am a sociologist who writes about sports. And
Mhm.
and the reason I say that, it's not to correct you, obviously. It's important because my background is academic. So that's why I'm
Right.
drawn to the history and guys like you. And so I'm going to answer your question in a way that may or may not surprise you.
Mhm.
Um, I I did an off, and I'm still involved in community work.
Okay.
And what I'm drawn to are people who aren't. What's the best way to describe it? I don't have to. I don't have to write a book about Jerry West or
Mhm.
LeBron, uh,
Mhm.
you name it, to feel satisfied. As long as there's a story that to me is rich, is relevant, and that people can learn from. I'm happy. And, that's the reason, that I wrote the book. One of the reasons I wrote the book about Darryl. Um, Darryl, the thing that struck me about Darryl is that he wasn't a big scorer. He never led West Virginia in scoring in any of the years he was there.
Mhm.
And the reason was he was a Swiss Army knife player. He
Right.
was dishing out assists. He was getting rebounds. He even played center one year, and
Mhm.
he's not a center. And so, to me, that's a really rich storyline to pursue. And so, I'm not sure if I had to
Mhm.
pick one person who was a named person. It
No.
was a person that I got to see play once in Archbold Stadium in Syracuse, New York. When I was too young to know who in the heck he was, it
Mhm.
was the game against Colgate, and it was Jimmy Brown.
Jim
If
Brown. I
Jimmy
knew you were
Brown
going
were
to
Oh,
still
wow.
alive, and the reason I'd pick him is that he was a phenomenal athlete,
Mhm.
without question. I think maybe the best offensive football player of all time.
Wow.
And he was an activist. He stood up for what he believed was right. He
Mhm.
spoke out. He brought people together. Had his negative side. There's no question. But
Right.
if I had to do a book about a star, I think it would be Jimmy Brown.
Well,
Yeah.
so let me restate it here, Frank. Let me restate it then.
Mhm.
First of all, Frank, I am a double major sociology
I
anthropologist,
I read about that.
but
Yes.
I'm in my whole career was in finance. But believe it or not, I use my sociology anthropology background more than I ever used my finance. People say, "What?" When I was working and when I was a supervisor, people like that, I had to learn how to deal with people
Right.
Yeah.
more than the finance I was teaching them, trying to
Right.
instruct them. So let me restate my statement, Frank, because and I remember you did say at the top you weren't just a sports writer. Who, or doesn't have to be who, what person would you like to write about? Is there any one person that you one day it's your big choice of writing about? Who doesn't have to be somebody known? Is there, or is it a subject? Is it a person? Is it a subject? Is it a place? Do you have that or no?
Yeah, I think the answer is no.
Wow.
Yeah, the interesting thing about it is, uh, I, I'm a great believer in a concept called trust emergence, and that is so much, so much in our lives we plan to do something, and what I found in so many cases is that some of the circumstances that have been most satisfying to me are things that I didn't set out to do, but somehow I was invited to do. Someone said, "Would you like to do this?" And and then I throw myself in it, and it after a career where everything was regimented and structured and repetitive, it's sort of refreshing that way. And so I think it's because
Right.
I'm not a sports writer that even writing about sports isn't necessarily a given, because I write a lot about politics. I write a lot about a number of things in education, what's happening in education. I write about that too. So good
That's
question though.
that's big, but thank you. No, that's unique,
Yeah.
very unique. And as me being an author now, and I plan to
Yes.
write other books. I'm always curious what drives other writers to write. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to drive at, Frank. What was driving you to write? Because I have so many people ask me, even Mike, because Mike's talking about doing a book. So many people ask me, Bob, what's the key to writing a book? Do you have the key to writing a book, Frank?
Well, the key to me, so much of what I wrote as an academic came from looking at numbers, uh,
Mm-hmm.
basically reading, and then composing, and that's important. That's important. But almost everything I do in terms of sports, when I write about
Okay.
sports, it comes out of conversation. And so getting to know people, like I said,
Mhm.
but I never would have had a chance to get to talk with Sherman Douglas if it weren't for writing this book. And had a
Right.
great conversation with Danny Ferry, because of all the great times, back in Washington when Danny would go up against you guys and
And
so many players in the Washington area.
he went to
So
DeMatha, right?
yeah,
Did Danny go to DeMatha?
he went to
Yeah, I
DeMatha.
played them my first year.
Yeah,
My first year, yeah, we went to the championship and lost to him. He used to call me old man.
yeah,
And I seen him last year. He's a scout now, I think for the Atlanta Hawks. And I seen him last
yeah,
year at a game. And he said,
yeah,
"There he is. Hey, old man, where you been?"
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"That son of
He's
a gun."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was good
Those
though.
are yeah. To me, it's an honor to be on the show tonight, talk with you
No,
two
no,
legends,
no. It's
and
harder to us. Oh,
oh,
Frank.
You
talk with
got it.
people like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Carlton Valentine was another one that came
Oh,
out of DeMatha,
remember
and
that
he was
name?
a big
Mm-hmm.
recruit for Judd Heathcote and Tom Izzo, and won
I
a
had him
couple
on
of
here
state.
too. We had
Oh,
him on here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Carlton Valley.
uh, great stuff. Yeah, to me, it puts a smile on my face.
Well,
Yeah,
what
to
this
see
show is
see
about.
guys grow up and wow. I had a friend that went to Michigan State. And she's like really into Michigan State. Sean Van Dyke. And I told her about you. Yeah, I
Yeah, the
told her
name rings
about
a
you. I don't know
bell.
if she took any classes from you or anything. Huh?
The name
Yeah, I
rings a
didn't know
bell.
she took any classes. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, she's crazy about Michigan State. I am too. I mean, because not only that, they recruit now players from down here too, because they got two from down here last year.
Wow, didn't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that.
So you don't do the work that you do for West Virginia as you for Michigan State as you do West Virginia? No.
No,
Wow.
no,
And you've
no,
been there for
no. It's
20
just,
years?
well, you see, again, talking about the power of invitation. My my favorite player when I was at West Virginia was a fellow by the name of Jim Braxton, who became an All-American
Okay.
out of Pennsylvania. And his fame nationally wasn't that he was an All-American. Yeah, this guy, 250, would knock you over and you would remember him. He was a fullback, he was a tight end, and he was the place kicker. Back in the day, he was a place kicker. And one of the biggest challenges for him was after scoring a touchdown, he had to run to the sidelines to put his kicking shoe on. But so I wrote an article about Jim Braxton, and some of the family saw it, and they contacted me. And one of the guys a couple of the guys on the teams that Jim Braxton played for, unfortunately, Jim Braxton died not long after he played for the Bills with cancer.
Wow.
They loved Jim Braxton, and one of the players on that team phoned me up, and said, in so many words, would you consider writing a book about those years? Again, the power of invitation. I had no plans to write a football book about West Virginia in the late 60s, early 70s. But that telephone call came and we started talking, and I started talking with other people. And a couple of years later, a book comes out. So, I think the thing is being open to being influenced in a positive way, being
Right.
open to being influenced in a positive way.
Well, Frank, this show is about people sharing their stories, their opinions, their beliefs, their perspectives. And we thank you, man, for
Yeah.
sharing the wealth of knowledge that you have. And that's what makes this show so beautiful, because no one person is greater than another. No one person is more right or wronger than the other person.
That's it.
But it's all about sharing information. Like you said, it becomes organic. And, you ended up learning some things that you didn't even know. That's the other thing.
Right.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
But thank you, man. We really appreciate you taking the time. That's what I say. Me and Mike are honored that you take the time to come on our show,
Yeah.
So.
Without a doubt, man.
Appreciate it very much, and I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. This seems to be working just fine on the phone, but I always use the laptop for our show every Wednesday night, so I don't know what happened, but I apologize for that.
Technology.
Well, that's okay. Just have it straight when we do another one now. We're going to do another one. I'm going to invite you back, so yeah.
We invite people back.
We'll do the phone.
We invite people back, Frank. It's
That's
not a
it.
one-off.
Well, we have to make sure we have Brother Prue. He's playing as we speak.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just watching this game here in Georgetown, up by 8 with 9 minutes to go in the second half. I hope they win. They're playing St. John's tonight.
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
that would be a huge win.
They don't have their star player either.
Wow.
Frank, before we can leave,
Yep.
we have a standard question that we ask on this show, that we ask all our guests, and you are no exception. Ask him, Mike.
What would you today tell the Frank Fear back, say, 40 years ago?
When you were a young man.
Young man.
Mm-hmm. Be humble.
Ooh. Haven't gotten that one, Frank.
Be humble.
That's it. That's important.
Yeah.
We've asked that question in life. We haven't gotten that one, have we, Mike?
No, we haven't gotten that one. But
I believe in humble, man. This one pastor told me, he said, Bob, whenever you're in any confrontation, always fall back to humility.
Yeah.
And I've used that because people can't fight. If you don't fight them, they can't fight you. But humble, and that's something that is very lacking these days, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Being humble, man. And I that's one of my big one pet peeves, man. I try to that takes you so far. So thank you for that, Frank.
Thank you.
That's the first, and we've asked this question a lot.
Yeah.
Got that response.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Like we said, we appreciate you and everything. We appreciate our guests for joining us tonight. We hope to see you probably next week, if not the week after. This is sort of hard trying to do a campaign and a show and
I
know.
working with my kids. Well, my kids coming first now, so let's get that straight, okay? We're looking for y'all to join us next time on the Michael Graham Show. All right.
Hey, Frank, before you go, can you give me your telephone number?
Sure. You want it now?
Yes.
Okay. It's 517-648-8801.
All right, thank you, my man. It's been a
All
great
right.
pleasure interviewing you, Frank. You are the best.
Well, you two guys are too.
And now it's the last thing is fear.
Episode of the
No
Michael
fear,
Graham
it's
Show.
Frank Fear.
Big thanks to our guests.
And you know,
and bigger thanks to you for listening. If it hit home, share it. If it made you think, talk about it. Because change starts with conversation. Catch Michael next time. Same truth, same energy, same mission. Till then, stay loud, stay real, and stay connected.